Hey guys, good morning. It is Rachel Feldman. I'm so excited to talk today about ideal client and avatar. One, I want you to go right to the description and grab the free download. We are going to be using this list building and marketing kit. They're marketing emails that go with this that have great calls to action for your clients. Biggest mistake that we often make when we are marketing our list builder is that we actually don't speak to our ideal client. So give me a second while I screen share. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. And if you want to head over to our free group, we're going to be taking you through 14 days. Like I said, today, give me a second. Today, we're going to be going over PowerPoint because I feel like this is one of the biggest areas that we fail to do, is that we speak to everyone and not just one specific person. So we're going to go right into this. Give me a second. Okay. So knowing and understanding your ideal client. Why is it important to know your customer avatar? You need to know this person intimately. It's so important to be speaking to their buyer persona, their objections, the very things that that make them want to buy. So when you're thinking about your list builder, it's very important to take this list builder and think, how can you change the name on the cover? What kind of social media marketing can you do to actually get this person to stop the scroll? It can be really hard to attract that one person if you are speaking to everyone. Now, you can have more avatars than just one. I find that most people have 3 different avatars. I'll get into that when we start speaking about the avatar. Reach an audience of one. Get rid of freebie seekers by targeting the right audience who will buy. Save money on marketing because you're not going to be running paid ads to people who are not your ideal client. More focused messages. Be able to call out the best candidate for your coaching, save time, and increase the likelihood of word of mouth. Referrals will flow. So what is an avatar? We always hear this. Your perfect client. Your perfect client, of course, you want to think about the images you use on your social media. You want to think about your list builder. How can you add specific key points within that list builder to speak to your ideal client? For example, if I'm speaking to a person with digestive issues, I can't just say clean eating for everyone. I want to get a little more specific. And I think of my perfect client. What is he or she struggling with? Like I said, for me, I usually had 3 different types of avatars. I had Jane, who is a similar avatar to myself. She was busy. She found that she often didn't have time for self-care. She was a CEO. She's got a lot of responsibilities. She has a family. She feels often pulled in 2 directions. How is my marketing going to be different for Jane compared to Jack? Jack is a executive. He has a family. He loves his family. He often does not put his health first. And he's been having these digestive issues. His doctor just told him he's got high cholesterol. And his wife is actually the one who is looking for a coach like myself. And then you have Sally. Sally is working at a 9 to 5. She has kids. She didn't graduate college. She feels that she's always making a mistake. I think about these 3 different people, the reason they buy, what they're looking for as a solution. And then I can be specific in my marketing to each of those types of avatars. So remember, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So who is your customer? How do we get to know your customer? So we're going to develop a profile. Give them a name. This is Sally. What's her average age? She's 34. She's divorced. So right away, we know that time is going to be this big, big objection for her. Where does she live? Where warmer urban areas near beaches? Did they go to college? No, she started a family early. So I can already think, what does she really want to do? She wants to spend time with her kids. She feels pulled in every direction. She's working a 9 to 5. She's got to hear from a boss. And so What are her big concerns? Another type of school, what profession? She's a manager at a paper sales company. She's assistant manager, household income of 65,000. So right now we have disposable income. How much could she afford? Is she going to be great for a high ticket? Is she going to be better for a person? And this is especially important when you're talking to somebody, even on a discovery call. You want to know how much do they have to actually spend for coaching. She might be great with a lower cost offer, maybe a self-paced, or maybe your mid-cost offer, depending on your pricing. Hair color is brown, weight, health. She suffers from fatigue and digestive issues and does not know why. Heavier tummy. So all of a sudden I'm going to think, okay, for my marketing of my freebie, this 5 clean eating hacks, I'm going to actually rename it 5 clean eating hacks for improved gut health, or 5 clean eating hacks for improving digestive issues. I want to think about what I not only specialize, what I want to be known for, but what are those areas that I'm going to drill home constantly? For me, it's digestive issues. For me, it's weight loss. And I'm going to put in detox for there. But we're going to focus on the digestive issues. So what does their day look like? What brands does she like? What websites does she like? What sources? Because when I start to know what is the information in those magazines where she gets her info, I already know Starbucks and lives off Fabletics. So I can assume that I'm going to be talking about Starbucks and gut health in my social media to attract her to that freebie. I'm going to also think of creating some social media around fatigue and energy levels with gut health, because I know those are biggies for her and biggies for pretty much every one of my avatars, except maybe Jane. But Jane is overtired. She feels that level of burnout. So what social media can I create to actually attract her to stop this scroll? Because everyone just goes like this, right? We sit there and we scroll. But what's actually going to make me? It could have one that says, are you struggling with burnout? Do you have digestive issues? Do you have IBS? Do you have loose stools when you get nervous? I'm going to start to think about all the problems that people have with digestive issues and craft out 14 days of social media. Because remember, it's not just putting the list builder up. It's thinking about the ideas. Now, give me a second. I want to actually pull up this one freebie, because I want to show you how easily eating hacks. I'm going to show you how I get content ideas, or the easiest way to get them, not the 5 ways. Give me a second. Okay. So right here, we're going to go into the 5 hacks for clean eating. This is really important when you're thinking of this initial step, is what is my ideal client struggling with? They might not even know they have digestive issues. They don't even know why. So I want you to think about a social media post where you're educating, where you're talking about gut. And I'm going to give you an example. For your social media post, you can go through this freebie and you can talk about living in a toxic world and gut health. What does that mean? How do toxins affect the gut? That can be social media post number 1. What is clean eating? I'm going to actually talk about clean eating and gut health and what are my favorite foods? What are my favorite foods and staples that I have in my house? With the call to action being the freebie, or the call to action being a DM or PM me. You can also, of course, put this link in profile and say, grab link in profile, but you can also flip the script and do a masterclass that leads to the freebie. And let me show you what I mean by that. So ditch the processed foods. I want to think, how is this affecting Sally? We'll take Sally, for example. Is Sally too busy to even make her own food? Is she eating processed foods at work? Is she grabbing that donut and that coffee? I want to start talking about some of these issues. But remember, you also want to make sure that you're talking to your ideal client. Do market research, get people on interviews, get people on health histories. Health histories are never a waste, even if you don't convert, because I want you to hear exactly what that person is saying. You could even say, do you have digestive issues and you don't even know why? That's all of a sudden a content piece. So I'm going to pull from that. I also am going to pull up, oops, clean eating for gut. If I could spell right this morning. Okay. I'm also, because I love educating people, I'm going to actually pull up, have her watch this masterclass first. I can do this as a series of lives. I can do this as one live leading with a call to action to download my 5 hacks for clean eating for gut health. We'll make it exactly the same. So I'm giving them 2 pieces of high value information. During that live, I want to speak to my different avatars. I'm going to have a message in there that speaks to Jack's wife. I'm going to have a message in there that speaks to Jane. I'm going to have a message in there that speaks to Sally. I'm still staying focused. I'm not confusing anybody with the information, but I want to have this information so that they can digest something and or see this on the front awareness funnel and see that I'm going past just here, download a little freebie. I can also, of course, take something like this and make this a whole, do you have any of these symptoms? As a live, as a reel, as a social media post. So let's get back to actually our slide. Okay. So I want to make sure that I know where she's hanging out. What are her goals? This is a big one: business, personal, family. She wants to get back to school and get her degree so she can reach her next level. That's a big why. I want to start saying, do you feel like you have no energy to go and do professional courses that are going to enhance you in your work? You want to really think about, what is this person's goal? This person to be able to spend more time with her kids. What problems do they struggle with? List 3 problems you can solve with your program or service. I want you to actually take that action step, and you are going to be creating your user profile, but I want you to think of 3 big problems. You should be able to think of 20 problems in all seriousness with your client, because we know them so well. We've either been in their shoes or we've witnessed somebody going through their health problems. She has a limited and tight schedule to use towards personal development and health. So our key to handling that objection is to be able to show the value of what it would be like if you had more energy. Tie that energy to the gut health, because that's what our whole freebie is about. So I want to have, as I said, some social media posts about energy, maybe an energy gut health smoothie would be one as a recipe. She's on a budget when it comes to meals and meal planning. So I want to show her how easy it can be to eat. I might even take from one of my recipes in the vault, and many of you downloaded the clean eating recipe kit that we gave you guys. I would put together a 3 or 5 day gut health reset. Something that I can even see as another tangible freebie to solve that problem, and say, quick and easy 5-day gut health reset. She's on a budget, so we're going to actually do another one talking about how do you get healthy foods for energy and for gut that can be on a budget. I'm going to take her for a live and to the market, or I'm going to do a series of videos on shopping in the cheap or doing a few meals. How do you eat for the cheap? Time efficient. I want to make meals that are under 15 minutes. If I can, talk about batch cooking and talk about that 10-minute meal where you can just make it quick. She's always busy and tired and doesn't know why. So I have to sit there and think and put a map with gut health being in the middle. She's tired. She's got energy levels. She's got worry about work. She could be having a myriad of different health issues. And maybe I want to talk about the things that could make her tired, like maybe even candida. Talk about some different things that could get her to stop the scroll because she's out there searching and looking. So, what's the worst thing that could happen? Try to imagine how they would answer it. Sally is worried that if she doesn't figure out why she's tired and start eating better, that she will not be able to enjoy times with her kids like she wants, or maybe not see them grow up. So she's really feeling that exhaustion, almost that burnout that Jane has. She's got no energy. So I want to think about stress and overwhelm and burnout as another content idea. And then think, what is my solution for that? Maybe I'll do a video where I'm showing the different supplements I take. I'm going to share a personal story about going through burnout and adrenal fatigue to the point that I didn't even have the energy to be moving around. Take her through the different levels of burnout. Tie it, of course, to gut health, clean eating, making smarter choices, and talk about what are those not smart choices. And she wants to find love again and feel good, confident in her own skin. So she's divorced. She wants to feel good about her body. So I am going to add in that part of let go of the dieting, let go of the dieting and learn how to eat clean with gut health foods. How does it make them feel? Consider all the things if that problem is not solved. This is where you learn to handle objections. Sally wants to find love. She wants to feel really good in her body again. She wants to spend time with her kids. It's all on Sally. She's so worried she's not even going to be able to grow up and see them, that she's not even going to be able to see them grown up. So Sally's worried that she might end up sick and unable to care for herself or her children. She's worried she won't be able to perform well and she will get demoted. That's a big, big concern. So I'm going to start talking in my content about, do you feel that you're just going to be sick for the rest of your life? What does that look like? Maybe there's an autoimmune going on. And I want to start teasing out possible information. So she stops that scroll and she actually says, clicks on my link and says, what is this girl talking about? Or maybe I'm doing a series of videos on YouTube that talk about my why, what happened in my life, series of introduction videos. Because she might be Googling and she ends up on YouTube, or maybe she's Googling and she's on Pinterest. Now start thinking about what will happen to your customer if you help them solve their problem. What can you do to ensure that your program and services live up to your promises? Now, guys, when you're list building, remember, we're thinking about not only what does Sally and your other avatars need, but I want you to focus on one avatar for right now. But I guarantee, actually, let me say that differently. I guarantee if you don't have clients, even in the group of your friends, you have these different personalities and they could fit your ideal client. As long as they fit your ideal client, start looking at what are their types of personalities, because this will affect their buyer persona. It will also affect how much awareness they need to see to actually build that level of trust to hire you. That is all your list building is about. List building is about building trust, taking somebody through a dating to marriage. Marriage is when they buy. Some people take a little longer to date. So I want you to think, how are you talking about your services? A lot of people get scared to talk about their services. It's not salesy. It's about a great energetic exchange to transformation. So write a story about your avatar like we did. How does the problem affect their life? Describe what your customer needs to get this fix and how your program and services answer those problems. For those of you that are specializing in like hypothyroidism or different, more complex gut health or more complex hormone or, mental health issues. I mean, there's so many different, you might need to explain. Your client may not even know they're having period problems. Your client may not even know they're having digestive issues. So that's why I always think of saying things like loose stools after, when you're nervous, thinking, or like, I eat and I feel nauseous, or I eat and I just get bloated. I eat and I feel like food's coming up. Start to think in their own words. Okay, so crafting content for your avatar. We kind of talked about this already. It was hard not to include it. What is content? All the information you create and provide online and offline for your audience. Remember, for those of you who are doing offline workshops, you're providing that information. Really think does this fit my ideal client? Is this workshop that I'm doing really portray a side of my business? That can be checklist, opt-in freebies, video content. That video content can be TikTok, YouTube for more educational videos and longer videos, Instagram, Facebook, infographics, recipes, and more. So determine your content. Who is your content being produced for? What do they need from you? How will they consume it? So when you're thinking, is it a downloadable checklist? Is it a series of videos? Is it a masterclass or a workshop? Maybe you're doing webinars. Maybe you're doing evergreen webinars. What is the best way they're consuming? When you start to see something that is working, continue to do that. If you find that you convert better from a workshop or a masterclass, make sure that you're doing that. If you convert better from social media, just on your flat grid, make sure that you're doing more of the type of social media that actually converts. So what stage are they buying in? This is really important. We think of our content as a problem solver, mini problem solver to get them to stop the scroll. The list building can come from all different traffics: Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Of course, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Of course, then we need to think of leading them into that stage of buying. Are they in the awareness or the problem of need? Are they going into research? Like, what's happening with my gut? I eat and I don't know why I feel sick. When you start to think of their problems and actually take that exact problem or the verbiage they say, can turn that into a piece of content. Comparison, purchase, and retention. Your retention, of course, would be, how do you keep that person in that funnel? That's what a funnel is. It's taking them to the next step. So if somebody buys a low-cost offer, taking them to either a mid-cost offer or taking them to a membership or your higher cost offer. But the goal is that we're using our list building to stop the scroll, give mini solutions to their problems, build the trust, and get them to purchase. So this is an example of just a social media post that I had. 5 types of content to drive conversions. This would be on your grid, or this would be on Facebook or even LinkedIn. If you find that LinkedIn has some people that are in your niche. Blogs. I did the best adrenal fatigue smoothie. You will see right here, I also have list building on the sidebar. This is something that you can easily do on your website. So I have something that speaks to my ideal client, or coaches. We often feel burnout at different levels in our business. And so I wanted to do an adrenal fatigue smoothie. You'll see I also have 2 different freebies right here. And in my coaching days, that would be my 8 ways to repair gut. And then another one would be a 3-day detox, which I had. Case studies. You can do a client spotlight. A case study, someone asked me, what is the difference between a case study and testimonial? Testimonial, you're just putting the person's testimonial. Those are powerful. These can be ways that you're reaching your client and showing them the transformation is possible. What's different to a case study? A case study is where you say, Sally came to me with the following issues. Sally didn't know her digestive issues were causing her problems with fatigue and energy levels. Sally didn't know she had an autoimmune. And then kind of going into what were the steps that you took Sally through and what is Sally experiencing now? So this was actually, it's actually a coach, Dan This is Danielle. This is actually Coach. She was able to take our list builder freebie and turn it into 1,100 people. So I do think this is Danielle. Yeah. Personal stories. Personal stories when you've been in your ideal client's shoes. This is such a key part and something that a lot of people don't do. We get into that teaching mode, but I want you to think, how can I bring this person into my office, into my life, into my, my personal why, my the things I want to grow, the things that were a struggle for me. So I always talked about having H. pylori, having heavy metals, having an ulcer at 14, having asthma, being intubated on life support, birthing kids that had heavy metals and their different struggles in their early childhood days, and how difficult that was with major food allergies and so many things that they struggled with. A lot of my story of candida and parasites and EBV became the very people that hired me. And for me, it was my personal stories that really highly converted. Infographics. This is an infographic we have. I actually put this because everyone knows I love juicing. But they're a really great way to stop the scroll. So if the goal is getting them to make a purchase, what type of content do they need in front of them to get to that place of making purchase? As we said, if it's customer retention, what do you need to keep them and to buy more of what you recommend? Think of customer retention as, like I said, a funnel. You have a low cost offer, a mid, and a high. Many of you have different methods that you're creating for your signature process. If you think of a 3-step method, that low cost offer is step 1. That mid cost offer is step 2. Step 3 embodies all of the transformation, all of those steps, all of those methods. The 3-step method. If you have a 5-step, it actually might be that, or a 6-step method, it might be that method 1 solves 2 steps, so that you lead them down a real beautiful hero journey to get to their end result. Tweak your marketing languages. Write for an audience of 1. Even if that means that one social media post is directed just for Sally, you're going to have a better conversion if you do that than writing for everyone. You could even talk about what is it like to sit, at your 9 to 5 and have that day where you just feel really overwhelmed, going to the bathroom constantly, have an upset stomach, feel nauseous, and really speak to Sally's problems versus Jane and Jack. How would they answer your questions? Not how do you, but how would they answer your questions? Think of your own client's verbiage. Do health history. Do research, interviews, ask past clients, use their language. You can even have a post that said, my client just said this to me. Is this you? Get feedback from them to know their answers so you can speak to them. Tell stories. I talked about this earlier. It's so important to tell your story. Talk about why this freebie is going to really help your client, or why this masterclass. Talk about some of the struggles that you had. Talk about some of the struggles your clients had. If you're lacking information, get a PowerPoint that's going to help you streamline some of your content so you can pull content ideas from that. A PowerPoint can also be turned into content. Each of one of those content pieces, just like we looked at the 5 hacks, the 5 clean eating hacks, each one of those content pieces could be a social media post. Treat your readers as humans. Too often we get so overwhelmed with the marketing, we get so overwhelmed with perfection, comparison syndrome, imposter syndrome, that we forget that we're talking to human beings. Think, what does my client need to see from me? What does my client need to see from me to build that trust? So your client, of course, should shape that writing in every way. The power of words. Think of these words that are going to attract your ideal client, those hot words that you're going to use everywhere. And you can look at places like Mind Body Green, Thrive Journal. I don't have a magazine right here, but magazines. There are so many ways to look for these powerful words that can really speak to your client. So find your avatar, Know where they hang out online. Google search, best place to start. Google alerts. Create a freebie that's laser targeted to your niche so no one could um, it's an effective way to pull them out of the woodwork. I personally had more than one freebie. I had a freebie on my front of my website that I swapped out about every 3 months. But I had a lot of freebies that I had on Pinterest. I had a lot of freebies that I had on YouTube. Um, Freebies were a great way to get that person to have something tangible. You might want to make a checklist. You might want to make, of my list over here, a planner, a video series, a webinar, and a PDF, which is a masterclass in the PDF. Search Facebook. There are so many groups for everything. Go in and see the words that are being used, the client language. Start asking questions in those Facebook groups, or if you have your own, ask questions on polls. It's very easy to do a poll. Start seeing what people are struggling with. Try other groups. So they're not just on Facebook, but you can see Ning, Delphi Forums, and independently run groups. You can even go to meetups. You can even go to networking groups. You want to communicate with people who are your ideal client. YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. What tactics can you use to contact them? Get into video, whether you like to go live or you go with YouTube, which you can, of course, do a pre-recorded video. It's very important to be able to speak to your ideal client with those key messages. It's much easier to speak in a video, and you can have them at all different lengths. We went a little longer than today because it was a longer PowerPoint, and we're talking about using this freebie in the follow-up email series to get your client to convert. But it's really amazing when you have a video, even on the thank you page of your opt-in, put a video. Because if you can do that short introduction, 2 to 4 minute video, you'll be able to connect with your ideal client. And that's what social media marketing is about, connecting with your ideal client. So fix your profiles. If you find that you're not being super clear, in my membership the other day, there was a woman who specializes in weight loss, but nowhere in her profile did it say that. Fix your profile. Test it out. Make sure that you're really speaking to that ideal client and that you have a freebie that's going to convert. From your about page to your website to your profiles, make sure that it's speaking to that person. So this is homework for day 1. Demographics. What problems do they have that only you can solve? Psychographics, favorite brand, favorite social media, where do they go out to eat? Start asking. When I had no clients, I asked my friends and family. So I started getting information from them on what platforms did they search on when they have a problem. I started listening to the very things that they would say and using that exact verbiage in my social media posts. You will see right here, I pulled this up from Digital Marketer. This is a great place to actually go and look at, why is an avatar essential for your marketing? Why is it going to save you time and money in the long run? And I'll just pull that up. Give me 1 second. Also a great book that you can have, Digital Marketer, Avatar, Invisible Marketing Machine. Okay, so I'm just going to share this. This guy has so much great information, guys. There is so many people. There are so many people talking marketing, almost to the point we feel like our clients. What's the information? Who should we follow? What information is easy to digest, because marketing can get really overwhelming. This right here is an amazing article. Talks about knowing your avatar in your marketing, your copywriting, paid traffic. He talks about Meet Agency Eric. He has the profile right there. Objections and roles. It's something that I didn't add on this PowerPoint, but when you think about those challenges and pain points, know those objections and roles. Trust me, your discovery calls will get better. your workshops, your webinars will get better. You'll be able to go right for that objection. If you know what their goal is, you have to also know what their objection is going to be to be able to market to them. So this is really good. There's another one right here. Create a customer avatar in 5 easy steps. I encourage you to go through this. It's really amazing. Break it down and also read about it. Why is it important? I think the more information that we have when it comes to understanding our avatar, it's something that I did not do right away in business. I didn't sit down and actually make that avatar. I had it in my head, but I struggled in year 1 and 2 to really speak to my ideal client. Once I got it clear on those different avatars and what kind of buyer personalities I was attracting, I started to understand the value of a low cost option. That's actually when it hit me, is not everyone was right for my higher ticket. Not everyone, especially with people who I was attracting with autoimmune, they were jaded. They felt like I did. They felt like, were they going to be in this vicious circle for their whole life? They didn't trust people anymore because they were so frustrated with getting let down. So when you really step into your client's shoes, you get to know also what scares them. And for a lot of people with autoimmune digestive health, for my clients, it was just this vicious circle of trying to figure out why the hell they were sick. So take that time. I encourage you, if you haven't joined our free group, to join, because we're going to be doing some of the videos just in there. And I want you to be able to get access to them. So we're going to have 14 days. You can expect 14 days, either with pre-recorded videos or a live video. They will be shorter. This was just a very big topic. Let me just see if there's any questions. Yes, this will be available later. Make sure to just look at the replay. If you have any questions, tag under that replay. And if you have any questions about your avatar, come into our free group. You can do a live, or you can do an introduction post and just tell us who your avatar is. What are you struggling with? What freebie is working? What's not working? And we'll be able to help you problem solve. So guys, it's been a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for this longer one this morning. I hope you guys have a great day. See you guys later.